Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I am your host, Dennis Patholkis, and this is Game of Thrones series finale, season 8, episode 6. We still don't know what the hell the title is because HBO. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm just going to make a guess on what the title is. I'm going to say it's A Song of Fire and Ice, because all the titles have meant really nothing at all to the rest of the story, quite honestly, that's been going on in this season. And yeah. Hey, Filthy, how's it going? Hey, everybody who's in the chat here as well. I got Morks, Randy 2222, Viking Bitch, of course, Slurmy Scott, Mufinobi's here as well. I got a couple other people as well I know that are floating around in here. Cheryl Lyra, I know, is here as well. Thank you guys for joining me. And anybody else that I'm missing, I probably am. Oh, Mr. Roboto. Mr. Roboto was here a little while. And Log Nielsen. All right. Maybe I'm saying that wrong, but hopefully not. And Joe Greer. Joe Greer's here as well. Nice. So, good morning from Manila. Good evening from California, Randy. So, yes, it's finally over with. So, I'm just going to say right now, spoiler alert, if you haven't gone and seen it, go and watch it at your own peril. Come on back. This will be a video. You can comment down below in the comment section, and you can dislike this video as much as you want because I've seen people have already done it already. Thank you very much for people who've disliked the video already without having any content to it whatsoever. So I was kind of going to go through a recap of it like I normally do, but um, let's just call it what it is. It was pretty bad. This is what happens when you don't have enough time to finish out a series. You don't have a creator of the series who's playing ball with you, so you don't know where you're going with it. And you basically have written yourself into a corner as well because you're already off on other projects and you're thinking about the other projects rather than the project that you should be finishing. And yeah, I really should just do a review of the Westworld trailer that came on right before the Game of Thrones, which I thought was kind of interesting that they just dropped that trailer right before the Game of Thrones season, series finale, which I thought was there. It wasn't bad, that Westworld trailer, but let's go back to the Game of Thrones thing here that we got here. Viking Mitch says I was enjoying it until they picked the king. Then I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, that whole last bit of it where they don't even say like 3 months later or anything like that. He just wakes up, he's got a little bit more of a beard, and we're supposed to just assume that time has passed. There were some really just fucked up things they did in the only person who didn't change, who remained the same kind of character that they were. Okay, there's a couple people that actually kind of remain the same. So it was Tyrion, Brienne, because they didn't really give Brienne that much to do at the end there. Davos, because again, they didn't give Davos too much to do at the end there. And Ghost. Those are the only 4 characters that didn't really change. So Ilgova says, I wasn't enjoying the whole season, but this episode was really satisfying regardless of the lack of logic. The episode is called A Dream of Springtime. Is that what you're saying, Marks? Is that true? Is that really the title? Because if it's really the title, that's a really dumbass title. That's all. Oh my God, it really is. Oh man, that's pretty bad. Okay, that's just a dumb title. A Dream of Springtime. Oh God, they should have just called it Springtime for Daenerys. A la The Producers, if you've never seen The Producers, Springtime for Hitler. Yeah, that's, oh man. Okay. So, some of the things I did like, I like Tyrion basically standing up to Daenerys. He, told her, she goes, you failed me. She goes, you let your brother free and you committed treason. And he goes, "Yeah, I let my brother free, and you burned down a whole fucking city," is what he told her. And then he takes off the hand and just drops it. And I was like, "Mic drop. There we go. That's what he did. He just did a mic drop." Um, and she has him arrested. I was like, "Damn, that's actually pretty good." That was probably the best scene out of this entire thing, quite honestly. And let's get to the point of what happened is that John kills Daenerys. She's basically going on about, what her brother told her what the throne looked like, and she couldn't imagine it when she was a child because she couldn't count past 20. So, she thought the throne was going to look as high as a mountain that no one could climb. And then he's like, "You killed a lot of people. Did you go out in the streets, take a look at all the burned children that you did out there?" And she's like, "Oh, well, you know what? You got to break a few eggs to make an omelet," is what she was basically saying. Yeah, Tormund didn't have one fucking quip either, exactly. Um, and she goes, "But you still love me, right? Come on in and kiss me. You can still taste the ashes from all the people I burned down, but kiss me anyway." And so they kiss, and he stabs her. And I couldn't believe that Drogon came in and didn't kill him, and instead, burns down the throne. He melts down the throne, and it's like, okay. Uh, if you don't have notes, take off the glasses. What you're saying, Slurmy? I do have notes. They're sitting right here in front of me. Actually, they're right here. But I'm actually using some of those for reference, Slurmy. So I need to actually see some stuff. So, yeah, it just, man, oh, that's all I can say is, and I mean, I actually had some better theories about some stuff. Like Varys, you know, he was talking about poisoning the queen with the little girl in the last episode, the beginning of the last episode. And if he had actually succeeded and get just a little bit of that poison into some of her food, maybe that's what caused her to go insane. That could have been a plot point right there. You could have been, done that. Also, there's other stuff that I read on the internet talking about the Night King. When the Night King touches something, he turns it, of course. It touched Bran. The Night King touched Bran. Bran could have been evil. What was he doing all that time when he was, during the war with the dead? What was he doing? That was never explained as to what the fuck he was doing that entire time. He wasn't helping them, obviously, during the war, and we want to know what was he doing. That was never explained. Um, and then, of course, he gets made king. I did like the thing that Sam, was saying. Well, you know what? It's the king, resides over everybody. Why not just let the people decide who the king is? And they all laugh, and they're like, "Yeah, and why not let my dog vote? And why not let my horse vote?" And things like that, which I thought was kind of funny. Um, so yeah, it. Joe Gurr says, "I thought John had something in his DNA to make him immune to dragons per emergency." Awesome. Okay. Ilagova says, "My husband was like, oh, Dragon, really smart. He knows she died because of the throne, not John." Possibly, or he just, wanted to get some anger out. Viking Bitch says, "That was my big beef with this season. I just wanted a little more explanation for why the choices were made. Just a little bit of tightening." Yeah, there was a lot of spinning of wheels in just this episode, especially that whole thing, when after John kills her and Drogon flies away with her body, which, by the way, is the best cleanup, the best cleaner I've ever seen, getting rid of bodies. He could have just kind of covered up some of the blood in the snow with his boot and said, "I don't know what happened to her. She and Drogon just took off." That's all it was. He didn't have to say, "I killed her," because who's gonna know? It wasn't like anyone witnessed any of this. So yeah, John was a little too honest. And that's the other thing. John let everyone do anything they wanted to him. So it was like, he just kept getting directed wherever the hell they wanted him to go. And even at the end, when they go, "Oh, yeah, you're going to become the Night Watch commander again." And finally, he made his own decision at the end to go off with the wildlings, but still, um, yeah, that Drogon waking up from his hiding underneath the snow and ash was kind of cool, filthy. I have to admit, yeah. And then he just kind of sniffed John and let him pass. So, why didn't John say what his lineage was? Because the Unsullied didn't care. If he was a ruler anyway, they would have killed him anyway, just out of what Daenerys was standing for was that all the kings were supposed to die, all that, all the old rulers, since he was basically next in line for the throne because of he was born that way, they probably would have just killed him anyway if that was the case. So I can understand why he didn't say what his lineage was. Ah, yeah, Viking Bitch says, yeah, John came back from the dead to go back to the beginning. Yeah, which that was it was just stupid. And then I mean, just to bring Tormund in just to kind of give a face, he's just hanging over the wall going, hey dude, how's it going? Nothing else. Ilagova says, guys, don't be so hard on them. They got to elective kings. Maybe in some time they'll get to democracy. Yeah, I mean, they did have that a little bit where, now they said, basically Tyrion goes, okay, from now on in this spot, we're going to elect the king, basically, is what it is. No king is going to be by birth anymore. They're going to elect who the king is. It was all Bran's plot because he said something when he chose him. Who knows? I mean, there were still a lot of loose ends, and I mean, Arya coming back after you see her riding away, and it's like, and then all of a sudden she's back again in this episode, and I'm like, wait, huh? What? Did you talk to the writer from the previous episode about what happened there, what we saw? Yeah, the horse ran out of gas. Exactly, Marks. He only had 5 miles left in him, and that was it. Joker says, I'm also looking forward to Regina King kicking down doors and kicking with butt and Watchmen. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's written by Damon Lindelof, and we all know how that goes. He's almost as bad as Akiva Goldsman. Let's see. Viking Bitch, I like the idea of electing the king, but Bran is basically a computer at this point. Yeah, he is the hard drive that he has all the memories of everybody here. Uh, yeah, I did like that too. Sansa saying that I love you, Bran, but we're still going to be an independent nation like we've always been because I don't trust your shit. Yeah. Uh, yeah, filthy. That's great. That it's good. I'm not going to watch it. It's depressing, and I remember when it all happened. I don't need to watch that. Joker the Third says, I think the man of 1,000 faces is going to show up on the board. That's what I thought too. I thought that that Arya was gonna have to go back and pay for something because remember, there was a plot line in there about whatever she does to become the assassin, that she would have to pay for it in the end. And I thought she was gonna have to pay for it in some way. And I thought that's the reason why she was leaving, was that she was going to have to do some kind of payment. But no, we didn't get any of that. She just goes off and says, I'm going to go explore the West because that's where the map ends. And hey, why the hell not? Um, yeah. Ilagova says, and I love the scene where they're wondering, where's Dragon? And Braun's like, oh, let me connect to the network. Yeah, exactly. I love that Braun says that, oh, last we saw him, he was flying east. And that's all we need to know. And Bran's like, really? Well, maybe I'll try and contact him, kind of thing. So, and yeah, we never get the any kind of confirmation if Brienne is pregnant with Jamie's kid, because that's what he likes to do. He likes to impregnate women, including his own sister. But I mean, yeah, there was a lot of just weird shit that happened here that really wasn't explained, and was poorly written, quite honestly. I was waiting for Brienne to write that Jamie was a deadbeat dad. Yeah, exactly. And that whole thing where they're all kind of waiting for Danny's to come in, when they, the broken steps and all that stuff going leading up to the broken castle, and the Unsullied all around, and Um, Grey Worm had gotten there first before John. John actually went to go and meet her, but Grey Worm beat him to it. He killed quite a few soldiers along the way, but then he had enough time to get there beforehand. Um, so and then he just kind of stands there and watches while Tyrion basically drops the mic and then gets arrested, and he's like, "All right, sure. Go ahead, honey. Do what you need to do." Okay, thanks, hon. That's great. And but and then the whole thing with her going on about, you're gonna have to destroy the world in order to make it better again, and only I'm the one who knows what good is. I'm That was about the point where I was kind of glad that he stuck the dagger in her. Because at that point she was just kind of talking maniacal at that point of no one knows what good is except for me. And he goes, "Well, what about other people?" And she goes, "Other people don't matter," is what she said. I mean, she literally says, "Other people don't matter about this time." And that was, yeah, that was a good time to just stick her with the dagger. That's what he did. She's like, "Go ahead and kiss me." And he does. And then you hear that as he puts it in her. I was like, damn, it's about time, man. You could have done that about 2 minutes ago and we would have had to not listen to that whole thing. Yeah, they don't get to choose exactly, Viking Bitch. They don't get to choose what's good. I'll tell them what's good, is what she says, and it's like, no, man, that's not right at that point. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. I was sitting here looking at through some of the stuff that I was writing because I took like about 3 pages of notes, and then so he ended it. I was like, "Fuck me, man! I really didn't have to take all that much notes on this one because, quite honestly, it doesn't make any sense anyway." And then all the wildlings, just kind of waiting at the last hearth for everyone to go, and yeah. The Filthy News says if this final season was a movie, it would have been one of those situations where the original cast said no and was replaced by similar looking actors. Jon Snow most likely being played by a Baldwin. That is pretty funny. How did Grey Worm know that John killed Danny? Was he standing? That's exactly it, Randy. We don't know. John probably went out and told him. It was probably what he said. He goes, "Well, I killed her. There's no body, and Dragon took her away, but hey, I killed her." He had to have confessed. That was, yeah, yeah. It's, oh man. And then John, apologizing to Bran, when he's being released and he's going up north. It just, I don't know. I really don't know. Um, yeah, it was a bad episode. It was a bad ending to a bad season, and the less said about it, the better, I think. And this whole thing about people wanting, signing a petition to remake season 8, it isn't going to happen. I'm sorry. Unless you guys have the $1 billion or whatever it is, probably 2 billion in order to remake this last season with all the my rating, sir, and Randy is what you're saying. I'm gonna give this one. I'd have to give this one a 4 out of 10, a 4 out of 10 on this one because good night, movie Fanobi. Yeah, I would say a 4 out of 10. Yeah, it is pretty low. I never have to watch it again, as far as I'm concerned. It's over with. It's done. And again, I blame George R. R. Martin for this because he could have told the writers at any point in time what his plans were for the end of it. He didn't have he didn't tell them. So they had to guess. They had to make up their own ending to it. They went off on their own little journey and got to where they're at now. Yeah, rewatches are rare. I know that for TV shows, but if they're on, sometimes they're on. Good night, Filthy. Yeah, I know that you guys on the East Coast, it's late for you guys, and work is tomorrow for a lot of people. Um, yeah, it's good night, Ilagova. I know Ilgova. Sorry about that. I added a little extra, there to it. She says I really need to go to sleep because work, but I feel like there's so much to talk about. Yeah, there is more to talk about. I mean, there were so many directions that you could have gone with this, And even with from the last episode, from episode 5 to episode 6, there was some plot lines like I even came up with here that really would have worked and would have explained some stuff and would have been better off. And yeah, we saw Ghost finally, John giving Ghost a pat in the head. But where was Ghost? He didn't even leave. He stayed behind in the north. He didn't come with them. Yeah, he didn't come. Ghost didn't come with John out there into the north with the wildlings. He just left. Did he? Did I miss that? Okay, maybe I missed that. Ilgova says, I feel that some fan theories would have been much better than what we received, but yeah, it's never going to get remade. So you got what you got. Again, like I said, I blame George R. R. Martin for not finishing this shit, and he had plenty of years to do it, and he never did, but he didn't. So there you go. I don't know what else to tell you on that one. And you can sign as many petitions to get as millions of signatures that you want, but unless you pony up some of the money, and I'm talking, it's got to be at least a couple of $1 billion, because there's no way in hell you're going to get all those people back again to do this, unless you're paying them a lot of money. Yeah, you started a petition. Yeah, she's already gotten enough. More. She's actually asleep in a weird position on the couch right now. So she's been acting all kinds of weird today. I don't know what's going on, but that's neither here nor there. So, final thought on this: bad episode, but it ended, like a bad season too. So yeah. What did you miss, Mr. Roboto? You missed the entire thing, Mr. Roboto. That's what you missed. Good timing on that part. Ilgova says Martin should at least help them, but he was like, okay, I'll let them do this shit, and then I'm going to turn out okay. I'll write it down. Yeah. Viking Bitch says someone can start a GoFundMe to redo this season. Oh yeah, someone already did that with The Wall. Yeah, it's the less said about this season, the better. And yes, we have Watchmen coming up next. That is going to be the next thing, I believe, that takes. I'll give it a shot. I don't have any high hopes for it. Again, it's Damon Lindelof, who is a horrible writer. So yeah, I'm not really. Slurmy Scott says first Sopranos, now Game of Thrones, HBO, the network that leaves you unsatisfied. These have really shitty endings, is what happens, and they don't. I mean, they need to have whoever the creator of the series is get an ending. That's what you need to do. Have a defined ending. Say, hey, I know where this thing is going to end, and tell your. I think they should make that part of the contract. Is you don't get your money until we know what the ending is of the series. So there we go. Good night, Ilgova. And that's exactly what they need to do. So that is that. Mr. Roboto says even horrible writing can crap out a gold nugget. Sometimes you're talking about what 1,000 monkeys on 1,000 typewriters that they'll get. Eventually they'll write. All I think is The Simpsons. I'm sorry. It was the best of times. It was the blurst of times. Oh, God. Wow. So, with that said, if you like what you've seen here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. You can also hit the dislike button, like some assholes already done, before this thing even started. But I ask, if you hit the dislike button, you go down in the comment section and give me a comment about what you didn't like about the video, not before the video happens, but after the video has happened, and give me some constructive criticism. There we go. You can also hit the bell if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next. The bell doesn't work half the time because that is Google. It sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. If you want to know when I'm going to be on, you can go to suspendedfanimation.com. That is where I have my schedule up. I also have it up on Facebook as well. I only do 1 week at a time because sometimes my week changes. So that's why I only do 1 week at a time. I don't do it months ahead of time. If you click the bell twice, you get a blue screen. Nice, Marks. Let's see. Tomorrow, I'm going to be doing The Tick, season 2 of The Tick. I'm going to be finishing it out, even though it's been canceled by Amazon, which really sucks. Tuesdays, I'm off. Wednesdays is Happy. Thursdays is iZombie, and hopefully it holds up to the last episode that we just had of iZombie, which was awesome. And Friday, of course, is the season finale of Doom Patrol, one of actually the best show on TV right now. Literally the best show on TV. And of course, Saturday is Saturday Morning Blast Off, where I talk about all things genre, news wise and all that kind of stuff, and anything else that you guys want to talk about that's based on genre. So, I also have a Twitter, I also have an Instagram, and I also have a Patreon, but the Patreon does not have tiers set up as of yet. I will figure that out at some point in time. Just right now, I am buried neck deep in a whole bunch of crap at work. So, yeah, exactly, Viking bitch. Doom Patrol is so good. Who cares about Game of Thrones when you got good TV out there? There is so much shit out there right now for you to watch that's good that you'll never get through the rest of it. I mean, quite honestly, you can leave the bad stuff aside, and yeah, that's really all you need to do. What was it? I read something like 109 shows were canceled this season, this year. And yes, Legion is coming. Exactly, Viking bitch. Legion is coming. And that's June 24th. That is going to be awesome. More musical numbers is always good. And Game of Thrones, yeah, they should have had a lot more musical numbers in this. If they had more musical numbers in Game of Thrones, I think the ratings would have gone up. But no. Legion is okay. Well, each their own, Mr. Roboto. I understand if you don't like it. Some people don't like it. I understand that wholeheartedly. That is why we have differences, why we some people like things, some people don't. Did Jamie and Cersei have a homing beacon? That was the other thing. I was wondering how Tyrion, because he's walking down the stairs, he's walking down the hall, and there's a big rock slide there. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna turn to the right over here, and which I thought he was walking through a wall, I guess, because there was just two walls that were there. And obviously there was another opening that he went around and got down to the dragon trophy room and finds their bodies. He sees, his hand hanging up there, and his metal hand, and that was the homing beacon. I guess that is where they had the homing beacon placed in. The gold nugget hand, exactly. It was the salmon moose. That's what it was. The gold nugget hand. He saw Jamie's hand pointing to where they died. It was the hand of fate. There's a little bit of light at the top of the rock slide, so he was able to crawl over. Oh, okay. They didn't show that. That was the whole thing. See, Viking bitch, I didn't put that together on that one. But then again, there's a lot of things in this episode I didn't put together because it was poorly written and poorly filmed. Yeah, I guess it was quick. So, oh, that's why he dropped the torch. Got it. He dropped the torch so he could climb. Yeah, they should have shown him at least attempting the climb at first, and that way we could have known that's what he was doing, because he looked awfully clean on the other side of that. He looked like he just walked around it, which is what he did really in real life. So, I mean, he walked to the next set, which strangely enough looked like the map room set. Yeah, that could have been it. At least it wasn't the same hallway over and over again. Randy says cinematography was pretty good, especially dragon wings behind. Yeah, that was actually a cool shot with Danny coming down off the dragon, and then we see Drogon's wings spread out behind her. And I would have liked to have had that for a picture, but yeah, I didn't have one. Sorry. Oh, A Dream of Springtime. Good God, that's a horrible title. And it gives nothing away. I mean, literally nothing away about this episode. So why they were hiding it, I have no idea, other than to be secretive about it. Sure, you got a lot of people watching this, you got a lot of people talking about this, but quite frankly, you got a lot of people pissed about it too. You got a lot of people that don't care about it now that are that are basically ragging on it. But yeah, you already got your payment out of it, is what happened. Ugh. Jamie and Cersei were next to another Starbucks cup. No, what happened was is they were waiting in line. The Starbucks line was really, really long, and they couldn't use the app because they were in a dead zone. And they were waiting so long that they actually died of hunger, and out of thirst is what it was. They died out of thirst, and then they got the building collapsed on them. So there you go. That's what happened. If they can really explain how Arya really got past the Walker generals, then I can forgive this season. Well, she did it again. She actually got past all of, she got past all the Unsullied and got right up next to John. I kind of like that one where she's kind of, you know, popped in next to him. She's like, he's like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" He was almost like startled, like, What the hell?" You know? And he wasn't expecting to see her at all, which I thought was kind of funny. But yeah, it oh man. God, that was a bad episode. But she did. And if you notice when she pulls up next to him, when she pops up next to him, there's a little bit of wind. There's a little puff of you see her hair actually move too. I think his hair moved too, if I'm not mistaken. I think his hair just kind of whispered a little bit, when she showed up. So maybe she travels with the wind. I don't know. Maybe that was one of the assassin's tricks that they taught her, is to be like the wind. I'm a leaf on the wind. Sorry, I'm making a whole bunch of other pop culture references as I'm going through this, because that's how bad this thing was. Is I'm actually trying to entertain myself about this, and it's just not working. So, since it's late for the rest of you guys on the East Coast, I'm going to let you guys go. If you're still on the fence about joining up, take a look. There's going to be a video that pops up here. It's going to take a video from my video library based on the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching. Watch that. If you like what you see there, then you can hit the subscribe button that's over here. And with that said, excuse me, thank you everybody who joined me here in the chat tonight. Viking Bitch Randy 2222, Slurmy Scott, Morks, of course. And of course we had Movie Fanobi and excuse me, Mr. Roboto. Who else do we have? Joe Greer, of course, the third. Ilgova, who took off. We had a couple other people as well. The Filthy News, of course, who took off, had to take off there a little bit early. And a few other people as well. Cheryl Lyra, and I believe that's it out of all my people that I was looking at there. So thank you all for joining me in the chat. Have a good night, and take a look at the video. Hit the subscribe button. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may be written out of a really bad situation. I don't know. I can't even come up with a bad pun on this one, just because of how bad it was. That's how bad it is. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you'll not be able to come up with a bad line to end this podcast. Thanks, everybody. Good night.